In many game communities, players have come up with something called a low percent run, which means you beat the game while doing the absolute minimum possible. A few examples are playing through The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time without collecting items like the sword, or beating Super Mario 64 without collecting a single star. And yes, both are possible. Lucky for us in Stardew Valley, we have a literal percentage tracker with a solid number to tell us exactly how much we've completed in the last area of the game, the Walnut Room in Ginger Island. My goal will be to reach this tracker with the lowest possible number. There's a couple of reasons I'm doing this. First, I don't believe it's ever been done before, and also there's a line in the Stardew Valley wiki that I'd like to disprove. It says that 3% is the lowest percentage you can see, but only if you cheat to warp yourself to the percentage tracker and collect walnuts to open the door. By the way, collecting those 100 gold walnuts are what makes the completion percentage 3 instead of 0, and there's absolutely no getting around that. It then says, however, that to reach the tracker legitimately, you must have a percentage over 3%, due to all of the steps leading up to reaching the tracker. Simply put, I disagree. So to reach the percentage tracker at its lowest point, here are the restrictions on our run. We cannot ship anything on the farm and forageable collection list, catch any fish, collect any star drops, craft any items, reach full friendship with any characters, collect more than 100 golden walnuts, and hardest of all, we can't gain more than 1 level total. But wait, why are we allowed the 1 level? Well, the Perfection tracker actually uses your farmer level, which is what this little title under your name is in the menu. The farmer level goes up every 2 levels gained in any skill, so we can gain 1 level and the title doesn't change, making it free real estate. For now, I don't know what stat I'm going to end up needing it in, so we'll leave all the levels at 0 to start. With that out of the way, let's start the run. Important to mention, this is an unseeded run, and I'm using one mod, the Experience Bars mod. This will allow me to track how much experience I have in every skill at any point. Also, yes, this was done on stream. I had a way that I was going to be able to show the footage without the webcam and everything, but during the first stream of this challenge, it didn't look good, so you'll just have to deal with that thing for now. So, the way I see it, this run basically has a set of 5 major hurdles that we need to surpass. And my first goal is, I need a furnace. This hurdle itself actually has 2 parts. We can't actually craft a furnace ourselves, so the only way to get one is as a reward for completing the blacksmith bundle in the community center. So first, we need to unlock all the bundles up to the blacksmith bundle, and then we somehow need to obtain one of each copper, iron, and gold bar. As for the other hurdles, we'll go over them as they become relevant. So the very first thing we do is start clearing out the farm in the only way I can, cutting fiber with a scythe. Anything else would give me experience. And I can sell the fiber for a little bit of money. That's not going to be enough though. The question is, how do you make a lot of money without being able to utilize any of the skills? Well, you might have seen this coming. Clay farming. Lots and lots of clay farming. As a quick summary, if you haven't seen clay farming before, getting clay from hoeing the ground isn't completely random. Instead, it follows a set pattern. Once we figure out where that pattern is by hoeing the same spot over and over again, we can follow it to get an almost guaranteed piece of clay every single time we hoe the ground. And that pattern is what you're seeing me do on screen now. If we're lucky, from a good day of clay farming, we can get about 2,000 gold worth of clay. And we're gonna need so much money for things like food to restore energy, buying gifts for villagers, and inventory upgrades. Also, while we're walking to and from areas, I'm going to be on the lookout for the spring forageables, since we're going to need to complete that bundle first before we can unlock any of the others. And I'm willing to deal with the 7 experience per forageable we pick up. So, for the start of this run, I was planning on just clay farming pretty much every day until day 6, sleeping through the extra time. But on the night of day 2, something magical happened. We got a meteor on day 2. A meteor gives a guaranteed 6 Iridium ore. Why is that important? Well, it's a bit down the line, but eventually, we're going to need to repair the boat to get to Ginger Island, and one of the items needed is 5 Iridium bars. Meteors are one of the very few ways we'll have to obtain Iridium in this playthrough. On day 6, we get the letter from the wizard, and we go to see him so we can understand the language of the forest, and immediately we complete the spring foraging bundle. This will unlock both the crop bundles and the fish bundles, and now it's just a case of seeing which bundle we can finish first. On Sunday, we had even more luck. The traveling cart is going to be one of the most important resources for us. us. It can stock almost any item in the game in exchange for money, which we can obtain freely without any experience gain. On this day, we get 1 Iridium ore, which is great on its own, but we also have an iron bar, and that's one of the 3 materials we're going to need for the blacksmith bundle. And lastly, I grabbed a coconut because we can use that for the exotic foraging bundle. On day 8, our luck turns. Well, not necessarily luck, I made a mistake. Stores were already closed for the day, so I thought, there's no harm in just shipping our clay and fiber to make a quick buck overnight. Well, actually there is harm. Turns out, both of those items are in the Farm and Foraging Collection tab. No! Which means this run is dead. And I didn't even figure that out until the 14th, when I happened to check the tab just to show the stream viewers. So on to the second attempt. For the most part, we start our run similarly. We use clay farming to get money, we get the spring forageables to finish the foraging bundle, but there's a couple of differences. This time we're going to work on getting friendship with the Wizard and Clint. Clint can send us copper, iron, and gold bars in the mail, all of which we need for the previously mentioned blacksmith bundle. And I'm interested in the Wizard for jade specifically. See, if we go into the vault bundles, the reward for the most expensive one, which is 25,000 gold, is a crystallarium. What I could do is duplicate a jade and then trade that jade for staircases at the desert trader. While this isn't required, if we ever want to get anything from the mines, this will be pretty much the only way to go about it. Otherwise, I'm using up both mining and combat experience to get down just a few floors. Also, if we were even able to find a jade node somewhere in the mines, that gives us a whopping 40 experience, so that's just straight up not an option. For the first Friday of this run, while we haven't gotten any bars or any iridium, we did have a pretty good first traveling cart. We were able to get a coconut, pine tar, and a cave carrot, 3 items that can all be put towards the exotic foraging bundle. Now, one thing I haven't talked about up to this point is why I chose the beach farm. First of all, it's a very open area, and having a lot of open areas is going to be very important later down in the run. But more immediately, there's going to be supply crates that spawn here. Among some of the items that are very important in these supply crates are bombs and omnigeodes. Omnigeodes being one of our other sources for iridium ore, as well as pretty much any other mining resource. And on Sunday, we got our first supply crate getting cherry bombs. Once again, we go to the Wizard to unlock the community center, and I don't immediately have the spring foraging bundle ready this time, but I do have a couple of items for the exotic foraging bundle. I have a bit of money after buying stuff from the traveling cart, so I go to Pierre's. This is gonna sound weird. I buy 14 tulip bulbs, and then I get the first backpack upgrade. This is planning far, far, far in the future. Now that we have more room in our inventory, I can buy more stuff from the traveling cart, so I go and get a large egg for the animal bundle and a purple mushroom for the exotic foraging bundle. So now that we're through this first week, it's important to mention any day that's not a Friday or a Sunday. In general, I'm going to be doing the same thing every day. Clay farm, give a gift to Clint, give a gift to the Wizard, sell off my clay, that's basically it. There's not really much I can do outside of that. I'm also sleeping through many days because honestly, I don't need to utilize every single day given to me. Friday the 12th, I don't really get anything useful from the traveling cart, but since I'm out in the town, I donate my purple mushroom to the exotic foraging bundle. The following Monday, it's salmonberry season, and I always say salmonberries are a fantastic source of energy, so that'll be the focus of the day. I also decide to cut some of the fiber on the farm because you never know when there's going to be a meteor event, and the more of the farm is cleared off, the better a chance I'll have to get that meteor. While cutting this fiber though, I got an item that I have never obtained before in the almost 1,000 hours I have been playing Stardew Valley. Noted. What? The living hat. While we didn't get a meteor this playthrough, I'd say the living hat more than makes up for it. Also, I always like to have a hat of the playthrough that I just like, and I see no reason not to have the living hat be that hat. Tuesday, I go out to pick more berries, also you might see me pass up a lot of forageables. My reasoning for this is, there's no reason for me to pick the spring forageables right at this moment, since I can't complete any other bundles yet anyway. So we're just gonna hold off a bit and see if we can't happen to find those forageables in the traveling cart, just to save myself a little bit of foraging experience. On Friday, spring 19th, once again we head to the traveling cart and we have a big milk for the animal bundle. And unfortunately, a spring forageable did spawn in the traveling cart, it's just one we've already picked, the wild horseradish. There also was a battery pack, which we do need but that's actually one of the items that we'll be able to easily obtain on our own, so I don't even bother buying it. On Sunday, once again, the only useful item is the battery pack, but this time it's a lot cheaper, so honestly, I go for it. That's one less thunderstorm that we need to rely on later on. On Monday the 22nd, I was just doing my rounds, going to see Clint, doing some clay farming, opening up all the trash because I do that compulsively, and what do you know? I get a red mushroom. Not the way I expected to get an item for a bundle, but that'll finish off the exotic foraging bundle. That could very well be the first time you've seen the exotic foraging bundle finished before the spring foraging bundle. And now that the animal bundle is finally unlocked, we can put our large egg and milk in there. On Sunday, I decided to do a lap around the farm to look for supply crates because I haven't up to this point. I find one and I get some geodes out of it. Honestly, not the most useful thing since we can't get iridium. Also, the flower dance is today, to which you may say, well, of course that's not useful. What could we possibly use that for? Well, the daffodil and dandelion are always sold during the flower dance, both of which I need to complete the spring foraging bundle. So for once, it's a very useful event. And the next day I go to donate those 2 items to the spring foraging bundle. And that will open up the boiler room, so whenever we do get those bars, we'll be ready to donate them to the blacksmith bundle. We do still need to unlock the vault bundles, both for the crystallarium and the lightning rod. So at this point, pretty much the only thing I'm waiting for from the traveling cart are bars or iridium ore. If anything from the animal bundle pops up, I'll get it just because I'm so close to finishing it anyway, but it's not likely. Our next day of note is the very last day of spring, Sunday the 28th, because this is the day we finally made enough money to unlock the farm cave. Now, this is a pretty obvious choice on my end. If I choose the mushroom cave, any mushrooms you pick up don't contribute to your foraging experience, whereas if you choose the fruit bat cave, any fruits you pick up will give you 7 foraging experience. So the mushrooms could just be a good source of money. Unfortunately, I have already finished up the exotic foraging bundle, so it's not going to be useful for that. I also give Clint his gift today, and he hits 2 hearts. Yes, only 2 hearts for the entire first month. I'm not rushing it because I know that this is going to be a very long run. On summer 3rd, I decided to go around and look for some forageables because a couple should have spawned by now. The reason I'm going for the summer foraging bundle is because there's only 3 forageables to find. So in terms of experience used, it's a bit of a freebie. I find sweet peas and spice berries, leaving only grapes. The first Friday of summer comes up, and what a great day. We go straight down to the traveling cart, and guess what? There are 5 iridium ore just sitting there. Just so you know for future reference, it is extremely rare to find iridium ore in the traveling cart. It's even more rare to find 5. That's 1 iridium bar out of 5 accounted for. Also, there is a crocus there, which gives me the thought of maybe I could do the winter foraging bundle since I can hoe for 2 items. But since I've already committed to the summer foraging bundle, I don't really need to complete any more. And you may also ask, well, couldn't you complete all of the foraging bundles and then not have to pay for it at Joja later? Well, no. And the biggest reason for that is hardwood. Hardwood is going to be such a precious resource that I don't want to give any to a bundle that I can just pay money for instead. The very next day I decide to go out looking for grapes, and I find them. So I go and complete the summer foraging bundle. I thought that was going to unlock the vault. Unfortunately, I forgot the vault is the last thing unlocked. So that actually unlocked the bulletin board bundles. So I need to figure out 1 more bundle to complete so I can get the vault unlocked as soon as possible. I just really don't want to miss out on the summer and fall thunderstorms. On Monday, I decided to do a little bit of inventory management, and while I'm at it, I grab a common mushroom from the farm cave and bring it into the fall foraging bundle, since as of right now, it's the next thing to be unlocked. On Friday, I buy something that may be seen as a little bit weird to most people. I buy pathing. Just 1. Because that's all that they had. I feel like this is a good time to mention that as time goes on, getting around our farm is becoming more and more difficult as more trees and more rocks spawn that I can't destroy without sacrificing experience. What pathing can do is basically block off a spot and guarantee that it's walkable. And unfortunately, there is not a single way for me to obtain flooring other than buying it from the traveling cart because it's all crafted. I decided to place this first path directly in front of the farm cave just so it doesn't get blocked off. Not much happens for a while, however on Friday the 19th I realized that I need to buy something that I'm going to once again need for much later. I buy a melon and a wheat seed. that is it. So on summer 22nd, I decide that I need to put my foot down and I need to buy a bunch of grass starter. I'm going to use this grass starter to mark the important paths around my house so that they don't get overgrown, because grass counts as taking a spot up. Unfortunately, it is going to slow us down whenever we walk through it, but it's necessary, as the farm is starting to get pretty worryingly overgrown. And if we get blocked in by too many trees, that is straight up a run-ending scenario. On the very last day of summer, we go to the traveling cart and there's 5 weathered wood floors, which will help us a lot in preventing our farm from becoming overgrown. I also go ahead and buy a blackberry because even though I can get one for free later on in fall, I'll still take one. And I donate it pretty much immediately. That wraps up summer, now we're going into fall. Walking around on the very first day, I find myself a hazelnut. You might be tempted to say, oh, but you can get one for free by shaking a tree later on in the season. I actually can't. Hazelnuts work the same way that seeds do, and since I'm not going to hit foraging level 1, I don't get any seeds, thus no hazelnuts. And I go ahead and donate it. And the next day we find the wild plum. And that completes the fall bundle, meaning the vault bundles are finally open. And since I already have the money for it, I'm gonna go ahead and buy the 10,000 gold bundle for the lightning rod. Also, just for the update on the relationship, since it's been a while, we're at 4 hearts with Clint and 2 with the wizard. We still haven't gotten any letters from either of them. On the next Monday, the 8th, it is blackberry season, which means it's time to go pick all the berries. I do that for the next few days, and on Friday, I wake up to a surprise. We've gotten our very first letter from a friend. It's Clint, and he's finally sent us one of the bars we need. The iron bar's down, that just leaves 2 more. On Sunday the 14th, we finally break open another supply crate that has more bombs. And on this day, someone finally told me that I can chop down the little branches on the ground without gaining any experience. Now, I don't know why I thought it was off limits this entire time, but I just kind of assumed. I didn't think about it, I didn't look it up, but yeah, that actually does help our debris problem a little bit. On the 16th, I decided to walk out because I want to check out the Stardew Valley Fair. There's a little bit of variety of what can be sold in the shop there, so I thought I might as well go check it out just in case it's anything interesting. Unfortunately, there's not really anything interesting. The random item is triple shot espresso, which is useful, but not worth grinding out 400 points for. Fall 19th, I got a mushroom tree, which really doesn't mean anything to me. On the 21st, we get another letter from Clint. This time it's a gold bar, so we're on a roll with these. That just leaves one more, the copper bar, for last, funny enough. On the 27th, we are delaying until Spirit's Eve starts. The golden pumpkin could be very useful to us. During that time, I start getting wood from all of the sticks on the ground in Cindersap Forest. Eventually, I'm going to need that to upgrade my house, which in turn will get me better items from supply crates. And once Spirit's Eve starts, I go and grab the golden pumpkin. That means we've finally moved on to winter. On the first day, I do go and get the magnifying glass. I'm not sure if it'll be useful, but there's no reason not to. I also start to clay farm using the winter forageables. If you didn't know, there's 2 winter forageables that spawn in the ground similar to clay, snow yams and winter roots. The biggest difference being, instead of selling for 20 gold each, snow yams sell for 100 gold, and winter roots sell for 70. Not only that, but they're much easier to farm for since they're much more common. From just this first day of forageable farming, I made 13,950 gold. I also used 1 extra winter root and snow yam for the winter foraging bundle. And since at this point I only have 1 more forageable left to fill it in, I go and get the crystal fruit. I can spare the 7 experience and the winter seeds will get me a bit of money. After that, I spend pretty much every day forageable farming, because this will be our best source of money ever. On winter 2nd, I have more than enough money to afford the entirety of the vault bundles, so I get them all, getting a crystallarium, quality fertilizer, and chocolate cake as rewards. And that night, the bus is repaired, giving us access to the desert. At this point in the run, I don't think that the desert is going to be very useful, but eventually I find out that the oasis is going to be very important. On winter 5th, we finally get that last letter from Clint. Unfortunately, it's not a copper bar. Luckily, there's a trick for this. The item that you get out of the letter is determined the moment you open it, so you can just restart your day and you'll get a different item. I do this a couple of times, and there's the copper bar. I go to donate it immediately, obtaining the furnace. And since I'm in town and I have a lot of money, I go ahead and get the 2nd inventory upgrade as well. And 2 days later, we also got a letter from the wizard. But it was a frozen tear. So we're just going to use that same trick we just used to get a jade. And I set the crystallarium to duplicate it. I also get my very first iridium bar from our furnace. And since that's all the iridium I have for now, I start putting other materials in so we can upgrade our tools later. On the 12th, unfortunately, we got our lightning rod a little bit late to take advantage of any of the thunderstorms, so I bought another battery from the traveling cart. At this point, the money is no object to me. And of course we have the Feast of the Winter Star, where I give my golden pumpkin to Leah because I wasn't brave enough to sell it. And then Marnie gives me a dozen eggs, which in this economy I'm not complaining about. Just as a note, as we accomplish more and more and have less and less to do before we get to Ginger Island, we're going to be skipping more days in between every important event. So year 2, spring 7th, we go to the traveling cart and we get both a battery pack and a bomb. At this point I have 3 battery packs and I haven't even used the lightning rod once. On spring 21st I decide to buy the rest of the wood that we need to upgrade our house, and altogether upgrading costed me about 30,000 gold, which is such a small chunk out of my 107,000. I also decide to go and look around the beach for any supply crates. And I find out that the trees have completely locked me out from getting to the west half of my farm. Now I could have knocked down a couple of trees to clear the path, but we're kind of inching up on level 1 foraging and I'd rather stay away from there if I can. So from now on, whenever I want to get to the west side of the farm, I need to go all the way around the mountains to get there. On the 24th, our house is upgraded, and I didn't realize this when I was doing it, but I now actually have some storage in the fridge. There's absolutely no way for me to get a chest in this game because I can't craft them, so this is all we get. Now I also make another incredible discovery today. If you go to the Oasis on Wednesdays, Sandy will just straight up sell you 3 Omni Geodes. As I said quite a while ago, Omni Geodes are going to be one of the only ways to get Iridium ore in our playthrough. And since we've still only gotten those 5 Iridium ore that we got way back in the first spring, we're struggling for it. So I'm gonna take anything I can get. That Friday, I'm an optimistic boy. I go to open up those Omni Geodes and, I mean, what could you expect? Nothing. Although this is going to be one of our best ways to get Iridium ore, it doesn't mean it's gonna be common. Going into summer, the next Wednesday, I once again go and buy the Omni Geodes. This is another thing that you can just assume. If a Wednesday passes, I go and buy the Omni Geodes, just so I don't have to explain it every single time. Friday, summer 5th, we go to the traveling cart, and we don't get Iridium ore, but I do get our first piece of hardwood. Now I might hear you say, hey, why haven't you been going after hardwood up to this point? I forgore. The Saturday directly after that was a thunderstorm, so we got another battery pack, giving us 4 out of the 5 we need. On the 10th of summer, year 2, is the day that I finally decided I'm going to buy the JoJo membership form. I really don't think that anything else in the community center matters to us, and even if it did, it'd be very unlikely that we find the item in the traveling cart anyway, so we're moving on with our life. This way we can start to buy things like the minecarts and panning, things that will be just generally useful to us. The next day, I buy the panning bundle. This is the final way that I've yet to explain that could possibly give us any iridium. And even if we do find a panning spot, it's only a 1% chance that we get any iridium from it. So once again, as with all the other methods, it's extremely rare for it to actually be useful to us. Tuesday the 16th was a thunderstorm, which means we have officially gotten our final battery pack. I would say that we're 1/3 of the way to fixing the boat to go to Ginger Island, but that's not remotely true. So with the battery packs done, it's time to turn our head towards hardwood. What are we gonna do? We need 200 of it as opposed to the 25 iridium ore we need, so that's a much larger proposition. I can't just cut down mahogany trees willy-nilly, and in that case I'd even need to get a mahogany seed in the first place. Which I can't, because if I break open a large stump, that's 1/4 of an entire foraging level on its own. And of course I can't shake any pre-existing mahogany trees for the seed because I'm level 0 foraging. Lucky for us, there is one more way to get a mahogany seed. It has a 10% drop from any slime you kill in the secret woods. So I went to the secret woods, killed a green slime with my scythe because I threw away my rusty sword, and I got a mahogany seed on the first slime I killed. So I clear a spot for it at the very bottom of my farm, far away from any trees and any rocks so they can't impede upon its space. But what do I do with it? Well, here's the plan. We're going to let this thing spread on its own. since that's a function that still works even if we're at level 0 foraging. We just need to wait for this tree to spread so much that we'll have enough hardwood from all of the trees that are currently present. And we can just hit them with the axe 9 times and bomb them. That way we will get no foraging experience, but it will still give us all of the materials it would normally. And that's why I'm going to start befriending Kent. If you didn't know, Kent sends you bombs in the mail, which is normal, and we're going to want as many bombs as we can get, not only to blow up those mahogany trees, but just in case we do get blocked into our house by all of the trees, we'll be good. Now it's at this point that I should tell you that getting all of the materials to complete the boat takes a ridiculously long time. And completing the JoJo membership form is no problem. I pretty much forego doing any clay farming for the entire year just to wait for winter forageable farming because it's just much more time effective. And with that, we're easily able to afford the JoJo membership. So the question is, how long did it take to get all of the hardwood and all of the iridium ore? Well, the thing that happened first is my mahogany trees spread into 18 mahogany trees, which is about as many as I'd need to get 200 hardwood. This happened on spring 20th of year 5. At this point, I still hadn't gotten all of the iridium that I needed to make 5 bars. Up to this point from the traveling cart, I'd gotten 1 iridium ore on winter 16th of year 3, 1 iridium ore on summer 14th of year 4, and 1 more iridium ore on fall 19th of year 5. Where I'd really gained an iridium ore is from Omni geodes. There were 5 geodes that I opened that had iridium ore in it: the 21st, 26th, 60th, 79th, and 89th. At this point, I've obtained 20 iridium ore, which is 4 of the 5 bars I need. The next and final time I got any iridium was winter 17th of year 6. This was a night market day, and during that night market, the traveling cart had an entire iridium bar for sale. So I bought it, and finally, we can complete the boat. That entire process of just getting that hardwood and extra iridium after we'd accomplished everything else took 2 entire 6-hour live streams. And for reference, when I started this run, I thought I could maybe, if I got lucky, do it in 1 year. And in that first failed run attempt, I had 6 iridium by like week 2. So I definitely thought it was possible. So anyway, on the 18th, we add the iridium bars to the boat, and on the 19th, it's ready to go. And thus, the final challenge of our journey begins. So as I said at the very beginning of this video, we need to get 100 golden walnuts to enter the room of perfection so that we can check our perfection percentage, and hopefully it's still sitting at 3. In theory, there's not too many golden walnuts that are completely blocked off from us. We're just going to need a lot of luck to get them. Oh, also, I want to go over my experience gain real quick. As of now, we're sitting at level 0 for everything still. However, foraging is almost completed. This is actually because I got caught in my house. I didn't want to expend one of my bombs, so I cut down 2 trees. You'll also, weirdly enough, notice my mining level has gone up quite a bit. There was one point where all the trees and rocks blocked off my path to get into town. And I used bombs to destroy these trees, but I inadvertently blew up a bunch of rocks around them that apparently had a lot of coal, so I ended up gaining a lot of mining experience from that. And then you can see the measly 3 combat experience that we got from killing that one slime that gave us the mahogany seed. Then farming and fishing are still sitting at 0 experience total. On this first day on the island, I'm looking to get as many golden walnuts as I can. These will pretty much be the easy ones that are given straight to us. So first, there's 2 nuts that are on bushes outside of Leo's hut. Then there's the one that you get for hitting the tree in his hut with an axe. From there, we can move on to the northern part of the island, where I immediately hoe the one next to the entrance, go down the secret path to the left to get the one on the bush, take the secret path back to the south to get the one on the bush there. There's one hidden in the ground on the southeast part of the map. There's another hidden in the ground directly north from there. Up near the volcano, I get the bush hidden behind the tree, and the dig spot right next to the volcano's base. And it's at this point that I realize I don't have a slingshot. And if I want one, I'll have to get to at least floor 40 in the mines. Luckily, over all that time we were waiting for the Iridium ore, I got 99 jade, so that shouldn't be a problem. I hit the spot on the other side of the volcano and then go through another secret path to get one more bush. With that, I have 11 walnuts that I can use to access the west side of the island. My goal at this point is to hopefully get enough golden walnuts so that I can set up the second farmhouse here. Then I won't have to use the boat to get back and forth every day. So heading down, I decide to try and fish for my golden walnuts. Now I have no clue if this is going to work. So I haven't caught any fish at this point. And if you didn't know, for your very first catch, you cannot catch any trash. If you do, it'll just be converted into a sunfish. I don't know if catching a golden walnut would override that or not. After fishing for a while, I keep hooking fish, so I'm just going to move on for now. I head into the boat to get the hidden walnut there. This seems like a good time to mention that over all of that time waiting for Iridium ore, I upgraded my watering can twice to prepare for the volcano, and I upgraded my axe once just to help with all the mahogany trees. So I can use that upgraded watering can to hit the diglet thing for another golden walnut. I head back a bit because I missed the one in the square around the debris, then X marks the spot, and so do 4 little divots. I then talk to Birdie because luckily in this run we did get to year 2, so we have access to Kent to finish this mission. Finish up the beach side, I get another golden walnut hidden behind a tree, get the one in plain sight in front of the walnut door, and then head up through the edge of the water to get the one hidden at the top of the map. It's getting dark, so we really gotta rush. Now I'm walking through all the tiger slimes. If you knock out all of these, you get 1 golden walnut. Unfortunately, each tiger slime gives 25 combat experience, so defeating these would level me up no matter what, so I skip that golden walnut. I do, however, head to the right of them, take the 1 mining experience from breaking the rock, and get the walnut bush on the cliff. There's another walnut hidden on a bush behind a cliff, and now it's time for Simon Says, where I get quite possibly the easiest patterns I've ever seen for this game. There's one hidden in the dirt surrounded by flowers, and I do try to do the one with the secret path over here, but it's so dark that I can't see the path at all, so I'll come back for this one later. Doing a little cleanup, I go right back by the tiger slime area and get the one hidden in the ground there. And unless I miss something, that's everything I can get on this side of the island for now. Unfortunately, I still need 4 golden walnuts until I can afford the house. So I head up to the volcano. I absolutely didn't plan on taking anything in here on this early, but I do want to go and get the ones down the lava river. Unfortunately, I've never seen this. There's a lava lurker in the river. I never knew it could even spawn there. And the thing about this is, I'm still level 0 combat. I have next to no health, and I haven't gone through the mines to get any gear to protect myself, so I'm a walking sheet of wet paper, and I die very quickly. This unfortunately caused me to lose a lot of things, such as my steel smallsword, my bombs, and my garbage hat, which yes, I did get, by the way, in between all that time getting the Iridium ore. And all of these items are essentially lost forever because I can't unlock the Adventurers Guild until I kill 10 slimes, which I suppose is possible, but I'd take a hit to my combat experience. At this point, I've kind of given up on getting the farmhouse, so in the spirit of getting things done, I go and unlock the dig site. Luckily, after dying, I was left with 1 cherry bomb, which I can place in the very corner to not break any rocks except the one that lets the archaeologist out. I then hoe up the golden walnut in the middle of the ground, go to the left across the bridge to get the bush there, and then go through the right on the hidden tunnel to get 2 more bushes. And at this point, it's so late that I just let myself pass out right there on the spot. Since we're back at the old farm anyway, I start gearing up for our next visit to the island. First things first, I grab all of those seeds that I bought all the way back in year 1, plus the garlic seeds in year 2, and I start Birdie's quest. Give the war memento to Kent, give the fire salt to Gus, then I sleep until Sunday so that when we go to the desert to give the flower to Sandy, I can also buy up all those staircases. I give her the flower, give George the remote, give the shard to the wizard, give Willy the worm, and finally give Birdie the locket, netting us 5 more golden walnuts. On my way back, walking across the west side of the island, I noticed that there's a boulder actually covering one of the dig spots for a golden walnut, and I don't think that's the way it always is. I think that's just unlucky on my part. Unfortunately, I haven't upgraded my pickaxe up to this point, so that's something we're gonna have to come back for. So while we're here, I follow that path that I couldn't see when it was dark, and then get a walnut along the cliff that I just straight up missed. With only 2 more walnuts needed to unlock the farmhouse, I go back to the volcano to try and do the lava river again. It takes a very long time and a lot of juking, but finally I get across, and I can grab those 2 walnuts. So I give the parrot the golden walnuts to build the house, and before we go to sleep, I plant all of our crops. For reference, that is 1 garlic, 1 melon, 1 wheat, and 14 tulips. You probably sussed out that the first 3 crops are for the gourmand frog. Thankfully, I don't actually have to harvest those crops to get the golden walnuts, so I can just grow them, get the gourmand frog to look at them, and we'll be good. The 14 tulips, on the other hand, are going to be harvested. Reason is, there's 5 golden walnuts that can randomly pop up every time you pick a single harvest, non-scythable crop. And the tulip is the one that gives the least amount of experience, meaning I'll be able to pick 14 of them before I hit level 1 farming. So the next day we're starting out on the island. I want to give the volcano a good check. If you don't know what golden walnuts can be gotten from the volcano, there's 17 of them. Technically 19 if we're counting the 2 at the top. 5 from killing enemies, 5 from breaking rocks, 5 from breaking metal crates, 1 from a common chest, and 1 from a rare chest. And then once you reach the peak, there's 2 golden walnuts there. There's a lot riding on this volcano, and unfortunately, I've got to do it without breaking any rocks or killing any enemies. So I go in, and immediately run away because I realize I don't have a sword. Well, what a great day to go to the mines then. We can accomplish quite a lot in this one visit. And we have enough staircases where if we really wanted, we could reach the very bottom. So first we hit floor 40 and get the slingshot for that 1 golden walnut we were missing. Next we get to floor 80, which gives us the Firewalker boots, which gives us 2 more defense and immunity than we had before. Finally, we hit floor 90 where I grabbed the obsidian edge. Now make no mistake, I'm not grabbing this sword for its damage, I'm using it purely for its blockability. While we're here and not on the island, I also figured it'd be a good time to upgrade the pickaxe so that we could break that rock blocking the golden walnut. Although I do need to get it all the way to steel. Nothing sleeping 2 more days can't fix. So 2 days later, I go and pick up my steel pickaxe. And as one last preparation, I decide to buy a bunch of coffee with the leftover money we have because I shouldn't need it for anything else. And it's finally time to head back to the island. Upon arrival, I immediately go to the forest to try and get our skeleton frog, and I get it pretty much immediately. And we turn it in alongside a skeletal rib that I found in some worms, netting us 1 golden walnut. So talking more about the skeletons that we need to get here. There's one that I'm for sure not going for, and that's the mummified bat. It has a very small chance of spawning whenever you break a rock in the volcano, and that's just not something I'm willing to put experience towards. The spine, snake skull, and snake vertebrae can all be gotten from artifact spots, which means I can do it no problem without any experience gain. The fossilized legs, of which I need 2, are a 10% drop from bone nodes at the dig site, and those things give quite a bit of experience, so we're gonna have to be careful with those. My main worry for all of this is the fossilized skull. This can only be gotten from golden coconuts. How does one get a golden coconut, you may ask? Well, you just shake some of the coconut trees and sometimes it'll fall out. Except not for us. I didn't know this until I did this challenge. Coconuts act like seeds. We cannot get seeds from trees until we're level 1 foraging, which means no coconuts for us. Well, that's fine. There's a couple of other ways of getting golden coconuts. You get one for completing the large animal, which requires the skull, which requires the golden coconut. Not an option. Well, the island trader trades a golden coconut for 10 normal coconuts. Wrong. Only after you've cracked your first golden coconut does he do that. Not an option. Well, we can get one from a blue discus fish pond. Blue discus cannot be obtained in any way other than fishing them up, which would fill our fish collection log. Not an option. There is one and only one way that we can get a golden coconut, and that's by digging artifact spots. The rub is, before you've cracked open a golden coconut, it is a hilariously small percentage chance to appear. It's so small it's not even on the wiki. Because why would anyone ever need to know that? Unfortunately, there are 7 golden walnuts locked behind getting this first golden coconut, so it's not really optional. So we'll be keeping an eye out for artifact spots. So after that, I go back to the farm, water my crops, and I decide to do something a little weird. In the Gourmand Frog's cave, you can only catch trash. There's no fish in there. So I decide to fish in there to try and get some golden walnuts again. I don't catch any for quite a while, but something weird happens. I fish up the frog hat, which I knew was a possibility. I was like, I'll get it, it'll be fun. but I also got a Joja Cola at the same time I fished it up. Now, somehow, catching that frog hat is what overwrote my having not caught a fish status. From then on out, whenever I hooked a fish, I was not given the tutorial. I was able to hook trash, and I was able to pull up golden walnuts. So 5 golden walnuts that should not have been available to us because we couldn't fish them up are now possible, just through some random fluke. We do need to be a little careful with this though, because even catching trash gives us 3 experience, and that's also true for golden walnuts. After that, I go down and fish up 3 golden walnuts immediately, and I also get the snake skull. Next day, I go and do the quizzes at the dig site hut. What I didn't show you is I got it wrong like 5 times before this, but that will net us 2 more golden walnuts. I then go to the dig site to try and pan for that fossilized tail while I'm here, and I get it first try. Okay, then I fish in the dig site river to get the fossilized spine, and sure enough, it comes to me. For our last activity of the day, we go up and use our slingshot to get that 1 hanging golden walnut. And my first activity of the next day is some more fishing. Unfortunately, I only managed to get 1 golden walnut before getting bored and moving on. I had a sneaking suspicion that I missed a walnut on the west side of the island, and sure enough, I missed one behind this hardwood tree near all the tiger slimes. I also remember that I upgraded my pickaxe specifically to get a golden walnut, so I go ahead and do that. And lucky us, the boulder doesn't even give us any experience. So even though it's pretty early, we go ahead and sleep for the night because it's time to do the first of many save scummings. The first thing that we're going to do this with is finding the fossilized legs in the bone nodes. Basically, the way this works is every day there's going to be some specific spots that those legs are going to spawn. No matter what, those rocks are always going to give those legs on that day. So I can break all of the rocks, reset the day, and then only break the rocks that I know have the legs in them. And that's exactly what I do. And just like that, we're able to get both of the fossilized legs with only 12 experience points gained in mining. The next day, I finally decide it's time to take on the volcano. There's not really anything else I want to do for the day. I'm starting on the island at 6 a.m. It's our best chance. And honestly, initially I was only going through to see if I could find any crates or easy chests to open to get those easy golden walnuts. But I was schmoovin'. And also you'll notice that I'm a little zoomed out here. I zoomed out specifically for the magma sprites, since I don't really want to kill any of them, but if they get locked onto me, they're locked onto me for that entire floor. So by zooming out, I can just avoid their area. On floor 2, we walked by a chest, but we were making such great time that I just sped on past it because I wanted to try and make it to the end today. On floor 3, I had to break 1 rock. There was absolutely no way of getting around it, so it's a sacrifice we had to make. On floor 4, unfortunately, there was a magma sprite right in front of the entrance, so I had to find the shortest route through the area without getting hit too many times. Luckily, the sword's block function really came in clutch, but I did take a lot of damage. With that, we're on floor 5. Unfortunately, I can't buy anything from the dwarf here because there's no way we're getting all the dwarf scrolls. I do unlock the shortcut because I did the math and we'll have enough walnuts to get through. Next few floors are pretty simple. I didn't get any golden walnuts, but I did get a diamond from a crate. Floor 8 ended up being our only button floor. Luckily, it was only 1 on a very simple layout. Floor 9 is the crazy maze it always is. I see that rare chest, but there are 3 enemies in that tiny room with it, so I'm passing it up for now. And easier than expected, I'm done with the volcano dungeon. I grab my 2 golden walnuts up top, along with the prismatic shard, although I don't really know what I'm going to use it for. There's really no way I'm ever going to be able to use the forge because I have no easy access to cinder shards without mining or combat. I do, however, decide we have a lot of time here. I have plenty of healing items. I'm gonna head back into floor 9 to try and get that rare chest. I succeed and it rewards me with both the golden walnut and a hot Java ring, which is one of my personal favorite rings. And now I'm thinking about that chest that we passed up on floor 2. So I go back to the entrance, get back to floor 2, we grab it. I'm once again given a golden walnut, and we get the dwarf dagger, which is an incredibly powerful weapon. Unfortunately, I don't think we're gonna have any use for it. First activity of the new day, once again, is fishing. I only have 1 more golden walnut to get, and I get it on the first cast, we'll take it. So what I'm actually gonna do now is go back to sleep again, partly because we're still waiting on that melon to grow, but also because it's once again save scumming time. So the way that the bone nodes worked with the fossilized leg is the same way that the muscle nodes work with golden walnuts. There's 5 that we need to get here, and we can use that same method, break them all open, see what drops a golden walnut, reset our day, and only break open the muscle nodes that give us a walnut. Rinse and repeat every day until we get all 5 walnuts. That first day we were just able to get 1 golden walnut, the next day we got yet 1 more, and just off a whim I haven't been keeping track of how many golden walnuts I've been getting, so I go and check the door. So far we have 57 out of 100, which is not half bad. In fact, it's slightly over half bad. Very next day that melon has grown, which means 5 walnuts for checking the melon, 5 walnuts for checking the garlic, and 5 walnuts for checking the wheat. Easiest walnuts in the game. It also happens to be our very first day raining, which means we need to go and find the bird. This time I found it on the south and it dropped a ruby, and while we're here I go ahead and open up the eastern side of the island, and we plop that ruby into place. Next we're on the east side finally. Unfortunately, I cannot get the 5 golden walnuts from the mermaid because there's no way for us to craft enough note blocks. We can get the 1 for free at the museum, but that's it. What we can do, however, is fish up that golden walnut that's in the middle of the pond. I don't actually know if that would have been possible if we hadn't gotten that weird thing with the frog hat, but we take those. And then I hoe up the one in the middle of the 4 starfish. Heading inside the Pirate's Cove, there's really only one thing we can do here for now, and that's hoe up the 1 golden walnut in the bottom right corner of the screen. And that once again gives us 10 walnuts, so I'm going to go and open up the island trader now. There's very few things here that'll actually be useful to us, but if we somehow get 5 dragon teeth, we can get a banana tree and then we can use that banana for 3 golden walnuts. Also, if we ever need golden coconuts after we crack open the first one, we can get them here. So I've been putting it off long enough. It's time to try and get the golden walnuts from the tulips. I believe it's a 10% chance to pop out every time you harvest a crop, and this first go around we get nothing. Now, funny thing is, this isn't determined day by day. It's completely random every time you pick it. So all I have to do is restart my day, pick them again, restart, pick them, as much as I want. Unfortunately, the second time I reset my file, I accidentally closed the game, which stopped the recording. So the rest of this video is gonna be stream footage. Honestly, this took a really long time, and just because I was curious, I put our chances into a calculator, and sure enough, there's only a 0.78% chance that we get all 5 golden walnuts. Eventually, a golden walnut. See? Holy... Oh, I picked a garlic! 4! Seeing how even getting 4 golden walnuts was just a 3.5% chance, I decided to take that. I go to sleep again to lock those 4 golden walnuts in place, and we continue to save scum the muscle nodes, getting 2 on the next day. Then for a break from all the save scumming, I go to the volcano to try and find as many crates as I can to try and get any golden walnuts from them. Unfortunately, I break about 4 crates, start running out of supplies, and leave. And since today is an even day and we might as well wait for the pirates, I decide to do just that. Unfortunately, we have to wait all the way until 8 p.m., and at around 4 p.m. I did this. It's worrying me. Pulling that 1 tulip pitched me up to level 1 farming. I'm resetting that day, I'm not taking that. For the next day, we pretty much straight up stand around waiting for 8 p.m. to hit, and once it finally does, we go and beat the pirate 3 times at darts and get our 3 golden walnuts. Next quest on the docket, I would like to get the rain birds out of the way, so I just keep sleeping until I see rainy days. On the 13th, not only is it rainy, but I find a worm spot at the bottom of the west side of the island. And from that, I get the first of 2 snake vertebrae I need. We find the next bird at the north end of the island with an emerald. Since we're sleeping so much anyway, I decide to get our last golden walnut from the muscle nodes. And with that completed, we should have all of the mining experience we're ever going to use. Next rainy day, I get yet another worm spot, and I get the second snake vertebrae that I need. And this time we find the bird on the western side of the island dropping a topaz. Now usually at this point I would normally complete the puzzle on my own, since the last spot can either only be an aquamarine or amethyst, but I don't have either of those, so I have to wait for the last rainy day. Although now we have all of the parts to complete the snake skeleton, which gives us 3 more golden walnuts. We get a mango tree from that, but I mean personally, my mango is to blow up. Our last rainy day is the 7th day of summer, year 7, and we find the amethyst bird in the forest. That completes the gem bird puzzle, giving us 5 more golden walnuts. Pure curiosity, I go check the walnut door again. We're at 93 walnuts, meaning we only need 7 more to get into that door. Since we have a completely unutilized combat level, I'm gonna go into the volcano and see if I can kill any enemies that give us a golden walnut. Unfortunately, I get as close to level 1 as I can, nothing gives us anything, and this isn't something that I'm willing to reset for. I decide to dedicate the rest of this run to finding that golden coconut, because it alone would give us all of the golden walnuts we need to complete this run. The way that I'm going about this is I'll go out, hoe a worm. If it doesn't give me the golden coconut, then I reset my day, then sleep a day, and go and hoe the worm again, since what the artifact spots give is dependent on the day, and unfortunately when it comes to golden coconuts, you can't hoe different spots to get an extra chance to get them. It took me all the way until the 16th of summer to finally get an artifact spot that gave me a golden coconut. We go to pop it open. Unfortunately, we cannot get the skull from this one because your first golden coconut always gives you a golden walnut. Lucky for us, that's not a problem because now we can buy them from the island trader. And also lucky for us, on Mondays, Sandy just happens to sell 10 coconuts, which is the exact amount we need to trade for a golden one. And I have very limited methods of getting coconuts otherwise. So really quickly, we're able to trade those coconuts for a golden coconut, and with a little bit of manipulation from the Omni geodes we've been digging up to this point, we get a skull out of that golden coconut. So we put the skull in, get our 6 golden walnuts, and I don't know about you, but 6 plus 1 equals 7. So finally, we're able to go into the walnut room. All that's left is to confirm that we maintained that 3% completion rating, and we did. But wait, what's that? 101 golden walnuts? I definitely did the math right. I only needed 7 golden walnuts last time I checked, and I only got the 1 from the golden coconut and the 6 from the skull. So does the perfection room actually require 101 walnuts? If that's true, then no sources really mention it. It's not on the wiki, it's not on any video guides as far as I could see. Why couldn't I get in until I had 101 golden walnuts? As far as I know, that may or may not be a bug. I really have no clue. I think for now, I'm still going to call this a legitimate minimum % run. Mostly because that percentage hasn't changed, but if y'all have any information as to why I needed 101 walnuts, please let me know in the comments. Thank you all for watching. This was quite the process to finish, but I wanted to give y'all something chunky to latch onto. And I'm always more than happy to do these weird runs that I haven't seen anyone else do yet. So if you have any other suggestions for me, please leave them down in the comments. Thank you for watching, and good night.